All right, so to get started, I'd like to just get into a little bit about Hedgey and how y'all got into the options and treasury management game.
When we started Hedgey, our goal was to build just an options protocol. We didn't have this big treasury management concept initially, but we quickly saw like, oh, this is where it actually has the most value. Because for DAOs, treasuries, token teams, the big problem is that there's a lot of tokens that are locked right now. Industries or token teams are essentially paper rich, and you can't convert that to the type of currency you need to pay like for, real bills and employees without spot trading or OTC. Options can fix that, and that's why we are where we are.
Cool. Paul, why don't you jump in here?
Can you break down the basics of proper treasury management and explain how it can benefit DAOs?
Yeah, I think DAOs are evolving, and it's sort of an ecosystem that I think, frankly, nobody really, besides maybe a handful of DAOs, like really have a full grasp on what it means to run a DAO. So whether you're paying contributors, employees, or if you're paying for, I don't know, legal services or whatever else that the DAO might need, like they typically want stable coins and not a native token. From like a traditional sort of treasury company perspective, right, you need cash to run a business. And although a DAO is sort of not a business, it's also sort of a business. And whether you want to call them contributors or employees, like DAOs have expenses. And I think you want the diversification benefit in converting to stablecoin or network-based currency, whatever it is, depending on what network you're on, that having access to those funds and that liquidity in your treasury gives you more flexibility in what you can do. So I think just having a good, robust, kind of diverse treasury is important in general. And this is all sort of, I think, pretty new, and we'll see this evolve a lot as DAOs mature. And I think One Hive is more mature than many in some regards. But I think it'll be in ever. I think there's a lot of people realizing that DAOs have this core treasury management and finance requirements that there's a lot of people attacking this market, and we're attacking one segment of sort of the DAO wallet, you could say.
Cool. So, Lindsay, for the benefit of the One Hive community specifically, could you just explain a little bit about how call options work for Honey in the pilot program?
So right now, all of those calls, when they get exercised, that XI goes to you. But if they're not exercised, then people will just hold them or resell them on the market, and they'll either go in the money and get closed, which the XI goes to you, or they'll expire, and then the Honey goes back to you.
Got it. And Paul, I know you had another question for Alex.
What would you like to see from the Hedgey One Hive partnership going forward?
Yeah, I mean, so I think just to touch a little bit more on like the, with Hedgey in terms of the tip of the iceberg, I mean, we loved that pilot program. And I think on like what I can see that being useful for is not just like a one-time thing, but like a rolling recurring basis. Like sort of every, month you just put on a new set of call options that help diversify another, chunk or whatever.
All right, and to wrap things up today, Lindsay is a startup offering an attractive treasury management solution for DAOs. What's Hedgey's take on decentralization, sort of as it relates to organizational decision-making, more generally speaking?
It's a complicated issue because I think it goes beyond just like what we see on the face of you get into like how organizations are most effective, because you have concepts like groupthink, where if you have everybody that has to sign on for something to happen, you can kind of have stagnation with creativity. But yet you all have managed to manage a certain amount of decentralization, but also spark quite a lot of creativity. So it's interesting, like it is an experiment for sure, but like I think one of my initial, when I was first researching DAOs, one of my initial criticisms was like, nothing will ever happen. If everyone has to vote, like it'll just go towards like, that kind of Rousseau view of like humanity, like it'll just go towards like the greediest and worst and, whatever. But in reality, just having explored the DAOs and meeting you all, you do see that, you have people who want to explore ideas, great conversations from the One Hive community on them, and these creative ideas are getting funded. And now if those creative ideas do have like owners in the sense, like to bring them to completion, maybe that's something like we're all exploring now. But I don't know, it seems like a very interesting balance of like decentralization from an organization, but also ownership of ideas.
Awesome. Well, look, it's been great speaking with you both, hearing your insights, and we look forward to chatting again soon.
Yeah, you too.
All
Bye.
right, you too.